Oh, I got it again. Okay, I pushed.
Okay, we can just please be quiet and then follow my lead. Welcome to Book Talks. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins with Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, and we have a real treat for you. Think about this. Imagine that you are a Roman Catholic nun. You enter the church, commit yourself to God, Jesus, and a life of celibacy and obedience. But then you fall in love with another nun who has also made the same commitment and vow of celibacy. What do? Let's also consider that it was in the 1980s when the LGBTQ freedoms for women to love women and women to marry women were just a distant dream. That's the story of Joanie Lindenmeyer and Carol Tierheimer. It gives me chills because their story is so powerful and their courage is so infinite to pursue a lifelong love of adventure and fun despite the restrictions of the Catholic Church and society, when it was actually dangerous to come out as gay and lesbian in the 1980s, which was the height of the HIV/AIDS paranoia. So I want you today to meet Joanie Lindenmeyer. She is the newest author here at Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, and she has written this amazing book. I coached her to write it in 6 months. We published it. She's had a tremendous reception with events in Oregon and California and many more to come. And now you get to meet her and hear how she found the courage to follow her dream of living and loving her true, authentic self with her amazing soulmate life partner and keeping Jesus and God strongly in the mix. Welcome, Joanie Lindenmeyer.
Hi, Elizabeth. Yes, thank you for that great introduction. This is really awesome. Happy day to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We are so proud of you. First of all, the cover of this book is just so beautiful, done by your sister Gail, as well as Illumination Graphics in Merlin, Oregon. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. I love the two nuns and all the symbols of your adventurous life together. And then your niece, 7-year-old niece, Cammie, did this beautiful rainbow painting, which is gorgeous. And so, Joanie, we're so very proud of you. And the inside of the book is really fun too, like the chapters. Of course, I opened it to This is Bliss, chapter 10. It has
your favorite word.
Yeah, it has these flower motifs. So everybody watching, please, if you are in the LGBTQ community, this will have special impact for you because Joanie's courage to live and love as she truly desires and share her message will empower you, and that's part of her mission. But for everybody else, this is a beautiful love story. It's a beautiful testament to the power of believing in yourself and God and guiding your life to the best possible outcome. So, Joanie, let's dive in.
Okay, that sounds good to me. You know, you're talking about the cover there, Elizabeth, and when I taught at Del Norte High School in Crescent City, one of my main openings in my classroom was 2 words. When you look at something, I see. And so, Elizabeth, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask everybody else out there. And by the way, everybody, big hugs and smiles to you. I'm glad you're all here. When you look at that cover, I see, what would you say, Elizabeth? I see, in one sentence, what would you say? I see
joy.
Joy. Okay. And then the next one would be, I wonder when you look at that, I wonder
how they found the courage to do this. I mean,
there you go. Okay, cool. And I hope that, everybody watching, that you can do the same thing. I see and I wonder. Well, when I look at it, I see tenderness. I see love. Oh boy, I'll get choked up because the love was so powerful, and love always wins. And that was Carol and I. We didn't think of us as gay, lesbian, on this trail blazing kind of thing about LGBTQ. That wasn't who we were. We were just so profoundly in love. And that's what this story is all about. And yes, it does mix all of the pains and the struggles and the heartaches. And oh boy, and there were plenty. But overall, it's all about joy and happiness, because some way, somehow, you hang on. In our world, you hang on to Jesus, you hang on to a faith, and you just go forward with that, and you surround yourself with cool people. Elizabeth, and I can go through 1,000 names, including all of you watching today, that have made an impact into our life. And so hey, have fun reading it, is what I'm going to say.
Yes, it's such a fun read. It's on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, and ebook, and anywhere that books are sold online, barnesandnoble.com and elsewhere. And listen, I coached Joanie to write the book. So I read it while she was writing it. Then I edited the book. And I'm telling you, some of these scenes make me laugh. Some of them make me cry, tears of sadness and tears of joy.
Yep. Always have my Kleenex box handy.
And then other scenes just give me chills, because the way Joanie writes, and this is her first book, but she writes with such energy, just like her energy is bursting through the screen. She writes with this joyous outlook on life. And even during the really, really devastating times of your life, Joanie, when Carol was ill for 8 years and you helped her be comfortable and live still continuously adventurous life, you still wrote about those scenes with such tenderness and love. Oh my gosh, you are all in for a treat. Amazon, you can buy the book there and read it, and just really, really love the feeling of love that you'll get from it. So Joanie, let's go back to when Carol was alive and you two decided that you wanted to share your story. Tell me about that.
Okay, prop number 1. I told you I would have props. So this is the original book. And Carol and I talked about writing a book because so many people had told us that you have so many stories. That funny one of the javelina in the living room and Carol's pole dance on the subway. And I mean, there's just oodles of crazy things that we found ourselves in, and somehow we got out of that situation. But anyways, so we started writing in this book. And then Carol had her stroke in 2014. Boom, the book went in the kitchen drawer, and I didn't see it until after she died. And then from there, I found it and I took it to the prayer corner. And as I'm holding it to my chest and my heart, I'm saying to Carol, and I'm saying to Jesus, should I write this book? Should we write this book? And the answer was so prolific. As I'm sobbing, I'm in the middle of grief. And I'm just sobbing my eyes out. And I hear this voice in my head and my heart that says, go for it, do it. You got to do this. And so lo and behold, that's how it started. It was just part of who I was. And my heart just poured out and exploded as you coached me. And I wrote and typed and thought and didn't think. And Jesus put his stuff in there, and Carol put her stuff in there. And it really is a threesome author book.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's step back a little bit, because once you made that decision in prayer, we're going to talk about the power of spirit, God, source, Jesus, making things orchestrate to enable you to get it done. So you'd never written a book. You didn't know how to start. You didn't know what to do. You told your godson, Daniel Perry Walkup, who is bookstayhop.com, amazing in Oregon if you need a vacation rental, but that's your godson. He's in the book. He wrote a quote for it. He's amazing. He knows me and my sister Catherine of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing through the Ashland, Oregon Chamber of Commerce.
And if I remember correctly, Elizabeth, Dan called me like hours after I had prayed. I mean, we're talking hours. Hours. Okay, go on. You keep going.
This is about serendipity and the way God works.
Yes.
So you talked to Dan, you must have told him about, I'm going to do the book. So then I was in Oregon at one of the Chamber of Commerce meetings, and I talked with Dan, and he said, my godmother has a story. She wants to write a book. She needs you as her book coach to guide her to write it, and a publisher. So we connected, you and I, Joanie and I, and we started. You signed up for my 6 months to book success program, and you wrote the book. You followed all my guidance of using the 6 senses: sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, vibe, intuition.
It was a no-brainer. And you know why?
Why?
Because I'm a sports person. I know I have coached, I don't know how many kids in my life, probably 20 years worth. I knew the value of a coach. And if I was going to do this, I was going to do it right. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's how I relied on you and your expertise. And I would want to integrate whatever you told and taught me at that time into my writing so that you could give me instant feedback. I wasn't going to wait a week or two later and then try to do what you were asking me to do. It's like I needed to do it then. And I so appreciated that from you, because as a coach, man, you want to do it right then, right then, right then, right then. And that's what
Yes.
happened. Okay, keep
You
going.
rocked it. You rocked it. You did it, Joanie. Your scenes just snap, crackle, pop. It's amazing. So then we published the book and I edited it because Joanie did such a good job. She pretty much wrote 2 books and we had to pare it down to the main stories.
534 pages. Do you remember that?
Oh
my God,
my
you told me
gosh.
534 pages, and I said, Elizabeth, I've never read a book that big. And you just laughed your head off, and you said, well, you can do a second book, or you could do this, you could do that. And I'm going, I haven't even finished the first one. Okay, keep going.
So we trimmed it. We trimmed it significantly. It was teamwork. Teamwork makes the
Yes.
dream work. We trimmed it
Yes.
significantly down to the best stories without sacrificing the integrity of the storytelling. And then we published it in March to much fanfare at
March
book
19th.
signings. March 19th. Yeah.
Because that's St. Joseph's Day, which was the day that Carol and I both made vows. And it's also a story in the book where Jesus and God totally healed Carol from her stroke on that day and kept her alive, which is a 1% chance according to the doctors. So March 19th, absolutely. Okay, your turn.
Powerful scene in the book. So that's a perfect segue, Joanie, to take us way, way, way back to you as a young woman in your early 20s, having grown up in San Diego and knowing you were different, not liking boys, loving sports, and then deciding to join the convent to commit your life to Jesus.
Yes.
And then you go to the convent in Lewiston, Idaho. Lewiston, Idaho.
So I've already joined the convent, and it's 2 years later, I'm going to Idaho. Yes.
Yes. So tell us what happened when you. Yes. Tell us what happened when you got to Idaho, Joanie.
Oh my gosh. I should probably read the book story on that, but no, maybe not, because then I'll really burst into tears. Anyways, so I was living in Pasadena, California, in the novitiate for the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet. And our novice director called myself and my very, very dear friend Maggie into her office to tell us we were going to be going to Lewiston, Idaho for 3 months. And so within, I don't know, probably a week or so, I received a phone call at the convent house. And it was the sisters from Idaho calling. And I knew their names, but I didn't know who they were. And so it was Sister Carol Tierheimer. And I heard her voice and she said, Merry Christmas, Joanie. And when I heard her voice, Elizabeth, my heart just did backflips and cartwheels and you name it. I've never had this love pang, is what I call them, love pangs, hit me so hard. And I thought, oh my gosh, who is this woman? And so lo and behold, we eventually get to Lewiston, and that's where the love circle just started happening, and the spirit of joy and happiness. And we connected as just 2 beautiful women. And that's when the love affair started. And then you get to go 3 weeks in, and you've got the mogul story in the book, and you'll laugh about that one.
So yes, it's a love story, but you're supposed to be celibate, and Catholicism is all about homogeny and it's anti-gay pretty much. It's not homosexual. I don't hate that word. Being gay in the Catholic Church is not allowed. At that time, especially. You can be gay,
but you just can't be involved.
Right, which is
okay.
Don't get me started. Okay, Joanie.
Which doesn't make sense to me, but anyhow.
It doesn't. And then there was also the problem of the Catholic Church being so patriarchal, where women couldn't have any leadership roles, even though Carol was pretty much running things. So it makes me so very angry to think about these issues and the sexism and the oppression, because you had pure love, but you had to keep it a secret because it was against the rules. So Joanie, talk about how did you actually finesse an affair in a situation where you were supposed to be celibate?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's not just celibacy too, because there's 3 vows. There's poverty, chastity, and obedience. And all three of them interrelate. But back to your question, how did we keep it secret? Well, I think we kept it secret because we knew we could have our private time in a bedroom or a car, and the community time, which was parish or the city or the convents in which we lived, those were really valuable times in talking and sharing and praying together. And it was a win-win. It was like I was loving my vocation as a sister, and I was loving being in love with Carol, and likewise for her. And that's what we had to work out. And so back to, how did we keep it secret? Well, I guess it was secret. That is a darn good question. How did we do that?
Well, maybe it wasn't secret.
We played guitar together in the bedroom, and we made banners in the bedroom, and we hugged, and eventually we kissed after the first kiss, which is a great chapter to read about, the first kiss. But it really wasn't until a year after I left the novitiate and went to Pasco, Washington, which, here we go. I was Sister Joanie, and I taught PE at the grade school there. And this was my habit. This was my habit, my hat. And so in coaching and teaching PE, Carol and I, 2.5 hours apart, we got to be able to see each other more often. And that's where the secret of our love probably became more secret or more intimate, and in those twice a month weekend adventures that we had. So I don't know if I really answered your question, that how to. You just do it because you love somebody. That's how you do it.
Excellent. I love it. So another example of that was when you actually left the church, in terms of being you didn't leave the church, you left the nunhood.
I left the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet. Yes.
Yeah, because after
5 years. After 5 years.
Because after much discernment, you decided that you did not want to live the vow of obedience or the vow of chastity, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Talk about how difficult that decision was.
Oh my gosh, it was so difficult. It was heart-wrenching. Discernment is a really cool thing, and I really recommend it for anybody trying to make a decision about their life. It's not just a Catholic thing. It's a decision about life.
What is discernment? Like, what do you do? Discernment
is reflection and prayer, total honesty, total honesty, which I am all about. I am all about in relationships and everything. I am about honesty, and to be able to confront in your mind and your heart with, in my world, Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit. I was able to pray, discern, and make that decision to find out not what was my will, but I wanted it to be the Lord's will. What do you want of me, Jesus? Why am I here? What do you want me to do on this earth? What purpose do I have? Those were the deeper questions. And then it was like, you know what? My voice, my hearing of what the Lord was telling me was, Joanie, you need to be more worldly. You need to get out of the convent. You need to love Carol with all your heart. You need to surrender your Carol, which was, oh boy, that was huge. I had to totally let go of her so that I knew I was doing my calling from God. And if I was doing my calling from God, Carol would be able to be a part of that if God wanted that to happen. And to totally surrender that was gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching, and then it just turned peaceful. It just turned total peaceful and joyful, knowing that, you know what? I have Jesus all the time in my life. He will take care of me forever, and greater things will happen. And I believe that, Elizabeth, I believe that for every single person, that Jesus is with you. Jesus will always be with you in figuring out how to do life the best that you can by being the best person you can be.
Oh, I love that. Oh,
does that make sense?
It's so beautiful and so true. Oh my gosh. Well, you read my book. God's answer is no. Lessons from a Spiritual Life, my memoir and my relationship with
Yeah.
Jesus, which I view as spiritual, not religious, because my father was a Roman Catholic priest who left the church to marry my mother in the 60s. So I'm in the Catholic rebel club too. But
Yeah.
all reverence to God and Jesus, and religion is a powerful force in our lives. So yeah, so Joanie, that's so beautiful. But
Can I go
then,
back to something you said?
of course.
You said that you get angry, upset with the Catholic Church and the hierarchy and the sexism.
Mhm.
And I guess what I want to say to that is different churches have different ways and traditions. And I am not angry with the church.
That's
I am not
awesome.
angry with my congregation.
Mhm.
I am closer to Jesus because of all of this.
Mhm.
And to me, that's what it came down to for Carol and I in our
Mhm.
living, our joy and our happiness.
Mhm.
It wasn't about the church or the staunch teachings that I don't agree with, because there's many things I don't agree with the Catholic Church.
Mhm.
But at the same time, there's things I don't agree with politics or teach, whatever the issue. But the
Mhm.
bottom line was my and Carol and our personal relationship with Jesus is what came through for us in a peaceful, joyful, happy way. And so we
Mhm.
don't have that anger and bitterness. Now, let me flip again. The synod going on in Rome right now. Yes, I have written letters. Yes, I have mailed the Pope a book. Okay. I hope he reads English. I don't know. I have mailed the book to Cardinal McElroy in San Diego. I've been talking with many priests and deacons and religious people and lay people. And to me, it's all the same. We're all people of one beautiful God.
Yes.
And that's to
Yes.
me the most important part. So,
Mhm.
I pray for the church. I pray for people that have been hurt. And that has come out so much. I did that 30-day road trip, Elizabeth,
Yeah.
13 huge events, 25 individual things. And in those sharings, because I would do a little book thingy and sign the books, we'd have a discussion afterward. The pain, the hurt from LGBTQ people and church people, and just a variety of stuff was just amazingly spiritual to see people cry and try to deal with this and say, Joanie, if you and Carol could do this, we can do this, and it's like, God darn, there's so much healing that has to take place.
Yeah. Joanie and everybody, this woman is remarkable. She does not have anger, and she is so joyous. I mean, Joanie, you blow my mind in how you stay way up here, way
Yeah.
up here, and just so
Thank
above
you.
the
Thank
fray
you.
of all the, and even again in the health crisis that was so devastating with Carol, you still stayed up there. You had some moments when the healthcare people were very negligent to her physical detriment.
Yeah.
But
But we were so
you,
fortunate because we were not one that experienced hatred and prejudice like so many of my gay friends have experienced from medical people. That the
mm,
prejudices and the hatred that have surrounded LGBTQ people for many years is still alive and well in so many ways. And that's wrong. That's wrong,
mhm,
because we cannot judge people. We got to
mhm,
treat people all with kindness and love. And I interrupted
absolutely.
you. So sorry.
No, that's so beautiful. And you can't, when you read the book, you just immerse in that message, and it's so beautiful. It's like the whole world stops while you're reading this book because you get so immersed in the storytelling. That's just a very unique perspective.
Mhm.
So, Joanie, let's go back to your story and how Carol ultimately left being a nun as well. Can you talk about how that took longer because she
Yes.
had the same discernment process as you?
Well, and probably even deeper and bigger, Elizabeth, because I had only made what they call first vows, temporary vows, and then I left community. She was already involved for many years, and at the end of the story, her story, it's 32 years that she was actually a sister of Saint Joseph,
Mhm.
and so her exclustration and her release from her vows, of course, had to be from the Pope people. Release, and she went through mentorship and leadership and prayer and reflection probably on a deeper level. But Carol was also so darn simple, Elizabeth. I wish you had met her. You would have loved her. You would have loved her pizzazz, her joy, her colors, her big smiles. And she was just so simple. And she had a communication with a direct line with Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Her thing was the Holy Spirit. Her favorite sacrament was reconciliation, and she just loved Holy Spirit. But anyway, she knew in her heart of hearts that she was in the convent for a certain time, for a certain reason, and a certain time period. And she gave it her all. And then when we fell in love, she realized also that she needed to make a decision, because our love was number one. And we as a couple could do more for Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit out of the convent than in the convent. And so her final, actually, this is a crazy one. Everybody listening to this, here comes the truth, which is honesty again here. We bought the house I'm sitting here right now, and she was still a nun. Oh, that's a no-no, because remember, there's a thing called poverty, right? Oh boy. So she didn't sign it as Sister Carol, but she signed it as Carol Tierheimer. And so
I love it.
Little things like that are big things, because anyhow, yeah. So after 32 years.
Yes, beautiful, Joanie. So then you bought a house.
Something?
Yeah, what is that?
Okay, these are our rings. This is Carol's nun ring of 32 years. Can you see that?
Her nun ring. What does that mean?
So that was her wedding ring to Jesus as a nun for 32 years. And then we advanced, and in the story in the book, you'll get to read about all the rings. Then we had our commitment ring, which was in Aberdeen, Washington, which was, we're talking in the 80s. We're talking about a lot of prejudice toward gay and lesbian people at the time. And then, of course, my wedding ring, her wedding ring was an amethyst, similar to what you're wearing there. And her niece Carrie has that now. But so we've gone from nun ring to engagement ring to wedding ring, all in a matter of 40 years.
Yes, beautiful. So let's talk about the wedding. You two vowed to stay committed to each other, and you wanted to have a Catholic sanctioned marriage.
Sacrament, yes.
Sacrament. Okay. But gay marriage is not allowed in the Catholic Church. So you began to petition the Vatican to allow gay marriage.
Yes.
And you kept waiting and watching the news and
waiting. We petitioned by writing letters to the Pope. That's how we petitioned. Okay. Go for it.
And what year did you start that?
Oh my gollies. Woo! Probably 15 years ago. 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you continued and you wanted to get married. You were living as spouses, partners.
Absolutely. Because we couldn't get married. We couldn't do anything. And then we became domestic partners in 2012. Okay. And then married in 2020.
So you married in 2020, but it still was not with the Catholic Church. How did you actually get a religious wedding?
Oh my gosh. Well, Father Bernie Lindley from the Episcopal Church here in Brookings, Oregon, St. Timothy's. He was also at Carol's care facility, which is Good Samaritan, where Carol was at different times during her stroke periods and when she needed extra help. He was the minister up there, and we got to know him very, very well after about 6-7 years. And so after contacting several Catholic deacon and priests that were not able to, which I admire them, because they're sticking to what they're supposed to do, because that's their following and their belief, even though I disagree with the whole premises on that. But anyhow, so they refused. And so then we called Father Bernie up, and he was so cute. And he goes, well, how about Wednesday? And it was like, yes, this is great. I would love to. And so that's how that happened. And the actual wedding day, it was during COVID. If you remember that. So August 5th of 20 in COVID. And here at the house, we were hoping to do it outside, and the fog rolled in, and it was drizzly. So we did it in our living room. And Tim, who is a dear friend who came up with the title of Nun Better.
Can you hold the book up? I can't see it.
Oh, sorry. How's that?
Oh, good. He came up with the title.
Tim is the one who came up with the title.
Okay.
Tim Music and her sister Sarah were our witnesses. And we performed our ceremony right in our living room. And you've been to the house here, so you've been in our sacred place. And it was definitely a sacrament.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And it's in the book. You can read all about the wedding there. And Dan was there with his partner, Andrew. And
Not at
it
the
was
wedding.
not at the wedding.
No,
Oh,
it
you
was
were at
over.
their wedding. I'm sorry. You and
I
Carol were
yeah,
at their
we gave
wedding.
we gave
Yes.
Dan away to
Sorry.
Andrew at his wedding, which was
Okay.
another
Yeah.
beautiful story.
A beautiful story. Beautiful.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
yes.
So, wow, Joanie. Okay. And then can you take us to the end? What was happening with Carol?
At the end, well, oh boy, oh
I'm
boy,
sorry.
you've been very no, you're good because you know what? This is what life is all about, Elizabeth. Eventually, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. We're all gonna die, but you
Hmm.
know, we don't just die. In my belief, there's a heaven, and there's
Hmm.
something even better and better and better. So Carol did die, and yeah, all are welcome was the song that came into my head as I laid in the opposite bedroom. Yeah, so all are welcome. And I knew that when I walked in there and she was cold and stiff and her body, she was at home, she was at peace. And all I could do was, I've got that joy, 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 joy down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart, because I knew she was up in heaven. And that is what it's all about.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yep, yep.
It's so beautiful the way you wrote it. And also,
And then the rose garden. Oh boy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Rose Garden is another testament. You want to share that briefly?
Bottom line is Carol and I had talked about every single thing of what was going to happen during her last days, minutes, hours, and what was going to happen to me afterward, and that I would carry on, and I promised I would live every day to the max. And I'm encouraging everybody out there right now, live every day to the max, because you just don't know. Keep telling people you love them. Keep telling, pour out the love, pour out the love. So anyway, she said that, you know, she didn't want a scholarship. She didn't want these other things. She wanted flowers in the yard. She wanted colors where people could just see, come, sit, be with me, be with themselves, and be with her. So we planned this rose garden, 55 roses.
Oh, wow.
55 roses, and we've given away bouquets and flowers, and it's just beautiful. So if you're in the neighborhood, especially June through September, come by and let's sit in the rose garden and let's smell and look at the beautiful roses, because Carol is
Yes.
there alive and well.
And there's a chapter in the book about it. It's called Will You Sit With Me?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my
And
gosh,
that
it made
flowed
me
out of my heart.
bawl. Oh, it's so everybody read that chapter. It made me bawl. It
Did
was
it?
so beautiful because you can't tell if it's Joanie or Carol or who's asking you to come sit. The
Oh,
way she
thank
wrote
you.
it, it was, oh my God, it's so enchanting. It's such an escape from like everything around you just stops and you just become immersed in this experience of reading. It's beautiful. So, same
Wow.
goes with the life that Joanie and Carol shared. Can you talk about the travel, the dining, the clam fish, what do you call clam hunting, crab hunting, cooking, just loving life as one big adventure. Can you talk about that, Joanie?
Oh my gosh. Let me blow my nose here. I still got, sorry about that. Um, Adventure. That's our middle name. That's our middle name. And back to the secrecy, to be able to be in the car, hold hands, smooch, kiss, whatever, that was our sacred space. And so we would go on adventures and follow a road here and a road there and whatever, whatever, whatever. And it led us to meeting all kinds of people, and just, we both loved Mother Nature. And so from clamming, learning to clam, learning to crab, we both loved to fish. We both loved the outdoors and walked and hiked and picked up seashells and just jumped in waves and, you know, swam in the river. And they're all stories in the book. And I guess the bottom line is that that's who we were. And adventures took us to places and people that just are just so beautiful.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. So snorkeling in Hawaii,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
The purple
hiking,
shoes, the purple
purple,
shoes.
big colors, dining and the way you describe the dining experiences that you had, it just shows this joie de vivre that's so beautiful that all
Oh,
of
what was
us have.
that?
That's French for joy of life.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes.
Yeah,
Can you
it
say that one
means
more time? That's beautiful.
joie de vivre.
Joie de vivre. Oh,
It
yes.
means
Joy of
joy
life.
of life, like enjoying every single day to the max, like you've said.
Yep. And you talk about food. Carol and I are both foodies,
Mhm.
and our niece Carrie is an incredible chef, and Carol's Tierheimer family. Oh, the recipes in the back of the book, you got to try them. I tell you,
Oh
they're good
yeah.
ones,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
yeah, it was all about dessert first, as Carol says. Yep, yep, absolutely,
And
absolutely.
let's talk about color as an example of living life. Yeah, you will not see Joanie wearing dull colors. You will only see
Okay,
Joanie
next
wearing,
prop. Are you ready?
yeah. Oh, that's right. You just recently went to Disneyland.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, yes. So this
So,
is my LGBTQ ears.
oh, so cute. I
Isn't
love
that
it.
cute? Isn't
I
that cute?
love
So
it.
yes, colors,
I
colors.
love it.
And you're wearing, thank you for wearing pretty colors today too. And anybody else out there listening, I hope you're in your bright colors, because that's what Carol really said when she passed. She, days before she passed, she goes, I want people to wear bright colors and have big smiles.
I love that so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
I wear bright colors a lot because I feel it cheers me up, but especially cheers other people up too. Like in the store, they're like, "Oh, I love your pink coat." Or at the gym, I'm wearing all kinds of colors. So, Joanie,
uh-huh.
you do that, but Carol did that as well. And your
Yes.
brightly colored
Well, that's
clothing.
because Carol dressed me.
And that exemplified your joy for life, the color, the vibrancy, the energy.
Yep.
Um,
Even our house, huh?
oh, let me just talk. I think the door is pink, right?
Yes.
The
Well,
the
actually,
walls are
magenta.
lavender. Huh?
Magenta.
Magenta, hot
Magenta.
pink, just like the book. The
Yes.
living room walls are lavender purple,
Correct. Correct.
and there's just these great splashes of color with crystals and little, like butterflies, and it's just
Yep.
enchanting, but it's so them in their
Yep.
home.
And
I
and,
had
and your top there, I think that's like a coral or an orange.
yes.
That's what the kitchen is.
Uh-huh.
And of course, my favorite sheets, which are purple.
Purple. Uh-huh. I
Yep.
love it. So, Joni, let's talk about how your book gives voice to a segment of our population that has been scared and silent to be visible and also to share their stories, express their truth, the
Absolutely.
LGBTQ community. What's your mission in empowering and giving voice?
Absolutely. Well, I guess it's sort of like these ears I'm wearing. You need to be yourself. You need to be unique. And I hope and pray, and this is what I've done with this book, is just come out, whatever you want to say come out means, but to let it all out there, because together we can inspire, and together we can encourage, and together we can support, and just be with somebody to use their voice. And that is just really, really, really powerful, because so many of us don't feel safe or don't feel accepted. And I don't just mean LGBTQ people, I just mean people in general, that they don't know who to trust. And to find a friend like you have been, and Catherine has been, and other people in my life, but when you find true friends, right here that you're good and they're good. And that's the whole idea behind getting and finding your own voice, and trusting in that, and trusting in that. And like I was saying before, Elizabeth, on this book tour, I was so touched by the people that have been scared, or they said that they all of a sudden they found out they have a gay son or a gay uncle, or their best friend was gay, or they took care of their brother who died of AIDS. I mean, these incredible stories that people shared with me, they're using their voice to say, I can be honest and truthful. Just like Joanie, you were honest and truthful. Carol was honest and truthful. And so that's how people can get their voice, is just by making it happen, seeing somebody else do it, be it, and then feel that they can do it too.
Mic drop.
What's that?
Mic drop. When
What's
you
a
say
mic drop?
a mic drop is when you say something so good, you just drop the mic. There's nothing else to say.
Oh, that's a cool saying. I didn't know that. Thank you for teaching me. See, you're always teaching me something. Everybody always teaches me something.
Well, I've learned so very much from you, Joanie, and I'm certain that every person who reads your book, which is getting rave reviews, is going to learn something. And most importantly, everything you just said about being yourself, living your truth, loving as you truly desire, having the courage to do so, to speak up, share your story. And the more you share your story, the more you empower yourself and others to be their genuine, authentic truth. So, Joanie, anything else you'd like to share with people watching right now about your book and your story?
I guess I would like to say thank you for buying it. Thank you for wanting to read it. And I would love to have future discussions, and I want to hear your voices about it. And I just feel so blessed. And I thank Catherine and Elizabeth and the team and Sally and Leah. And you won't believe the team that it took to write this book. You know,
yeah, we're I'm so honored that I was your book coach to coach you to write it, and that I got to be your editor and publisher. And we are just having an absolute ball with everything. Your book party at Pascal Winery in Oregon was so beautiful. And so many people, I mean, the room was packed with people buying your hardcover and paperback. Your other events at the Brookings Library and the first event at the pizzeria, they were all spectacular. Everybody, such big crowds coming out to support and buy your book. Then you went to San Francisco, you went to San Diego. And and you're going to have places across the country over the coming months.
Arkansas will be coming up. Aberdeen, Washington will be coming up, hoping for Seattle. Those dates haven't been selected. Probably Santa Cruz area. And I will be in Medford for June 20th. I'm speaking at the RVML.
The Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library.
Yes.
So
on the 20th.
So everybody, you can follow Joanie on her Facebook page. It's Joanie Lindenmeyer, and she has announcements about all her events, and the Two Sisters Writing and Publishing Facebook page as well. Our website, twosisterswriting.com, is about to be launched, our new one. So it's going to have an events page that's going to have all of Joanie's events. And so you can also find things here on the Two Sisters Writing and Publishing YouTube channel, where we have videos about our authors, including Joanie. And so we're very grateful for all of your support. And please go to wherever you buy books online, whether that's barnesandnoble.com or Amazon or other places that have her book, and get your copy of Nun Better. And then when you meet Joanie in person, if she comes to your city or you get to go where she is, she can autograph it for you, because it's very special. She'll write such an inspiring inscription for you. You'll love it, love it, love it.
Better than a baseball card. I get to sign it better than a baseball card.
So, Joanie Lindenmeyer, I want to congratulate you for doing such a spectacular job writing this book. I want to thank you for entrusting me and Catherine here at Two Sisters Writing and Publishing to coach you, to be your editor, to publish the book, and now help promote your book. And we wish you the absolute best. We're also grateful that not only are you our author, but you're our dear, cherished friend. And we think that you are truly an angel on this world, here to deliver a powerful message that can empower people everywhere. So, Joanie, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Elizabeth, so much. Yes.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you, all of you, for watching. Remember to get your copy of Nun Better, an amazing love story by Joanie Lindenmeyer and Carol Tierheimer, and write your own story. Write your truth.
Yes.
So
tell your story. I love the title of this. Be seen, be heard, tell your story.
Yes.
Please tell your story.
Yes. Tell your story, and you'll be seen, be heard, and empower other people to do the same. And that makes the world a better place, person by person. All right. Thank you, Joanie, and all of you. Please visit twosisterswriting.com, and we immensely appreciate your support. Happy writing and happy day.
Happy day. Love you.